Welcome to a new episode of People and Purpose podcast by GMG. With me today is our VP Development, Fadi, who has joined us to discuss the full portfolio of development and what that entails in the life of GMG. Hi, Fadi. How are
Hi,
you?
Rozan. I'm doing just well. Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted to have you today, especially with the interesting scope that you cover and how it can unveil what it means to have a scope of leasing, projects, and facility in a commercial environment like GMG. So maybe we can start with, what does development mean?
Actually, this is something really interesting. So if you go to any other company, there are three different departments that are not connected to each other somehow. For the best of the business, we try to club all together under the development. So technically, we are the people who start the job and finish the job. If I need to say it, we translate the ideas of GMG into physical locations. So we lease it, we negotiate it, we make sure it's the best for the business, we build it, we make sure the operation will operate properly with it, and then we make sure the FM team will comes in at any day so they can make sure this is the right environment, the right maintenance to be done, so we can deliver the best of customer experience to the customer along with the other department of operations. So we do the 360 from A to Z. We open, we close the business. As simple as this.
How do you make sure you don't close it?
Okay, this is when it comes to how we select the unit, how we grow the business. So we make sure whenever we need to grow the business, we have our own criteria, but first of all, we select the country, we select the city, we select the mall or the environment or the neighborhood. And then we define which brand should go where based on specific criteria. Each brand has its own DNA, but we need to make sure that the brand will serve the community and we take the best out of it as well. So for us to make sure we don't close many stores, we are being very specific on how we choose it. The right mall, the right adjacency for it, the right size for it. Definitely, it comes also the right rent, the right terms and condition, and so and so. So we need to make sure we open the store to sustain and to be profitable, not to just open a store for the sake of store opening because we need to check the list.
But what defines those criteria? I mean, I believe you're consumer-centric, so you take that as a starting criteria. But from there, how do you derive the right parameters? Like, what makes it right?
Okay. So it depends from one brand to another, right? We need to understand the brand. We need to understand the consumer. Is this the right consumer? Is this the right income? Is this the right spending power in this area? And then we look at the e-com as well, because now we cannot just neglect e-com. We need to understand, are we serving the e-com by the Q-com service or whatsoever? And then definitely we will go to see if this is in the right mall and if this is the right location based on the adjacencies that we are catering. Again, in this mall, we looked at several factors like what is the footfall, what is the catchment area, and what is the nearby malls or community centers across to it, so we can understand if there's any cannibalization happening to our business or not. We need to understand the tourism flow as well. So we take all these factors in, but all of these are data-driven, which is amazing, and we need to do it. But this is not the end of it. So the human factor should always be there. Sometimes the number says one thing, and we decide we need to do another thing based on our expertise when we sit all together, and we decide that, yes, the number is saying yes, but this is a no for us, or vice versa. Sometimes the number says completely no, but we know that we're going to regret it if we don't do it, so we decide also to jump in it.
So, you know, we live in a very, transient, two, in a growth environment. In general in GCC, but I also believe generally the world is growing. When you take a decision that's right for today, how do you manage the migration of the consumer or the mall itself? So a location that's right in, say, a Dubai mall today might not be right in Dubai mall tomorrow.
Of course.
How do you guys anticipate and manage such changes so you can stay competitively viable?
Okay. So we build on our decision for the next coming 5 years. We just don't take the decision for today. We anticipate what's going to happen. As you mentioned, whatever is relevant today might not be relevant later on. During this time, we always try to change and adapt what the customer wants. Is it still the experience that they are looking for? Is it still the assortment they are looking for? Is it now being price-driven when it comes to value, not mid or not high prices? So we take all into consideration, and we always try to adapt with it. Sometimes we do some changes in the store that can have better experience to the customer. Sometimes whenever we reach a dead end, we think on what's next. Before we say we're going to surrender, we think, can we still do something else now which is more relevant for us and for the consumer? And we try sometimes to change a brand or change the way how we operate. So we build it for the next 5 years, but sometimes we don't see what's coming in the next coming 7 years or beyond. But we always try to be on top of things, and we always try to adapt based on the customer experience. We always try to deliver the customer experience that people are looking for, because usually the loyalty now is for not brand-centric, but more into experience-centric. So we always try to adapt everything needed in it. And trust me, it's working 80% of the times.
No, I believe
Sometimes we
it
fail.
does.
Sometimes we fail, to be very honest. But now we are trying to make sure that the failure percentage will go down by integrating more data efficiency, trying to anticipate more how things will be done, and try to be on top of things ahead of time, not to just wait until it happened and then react with it.
I presume for you to have the upper hand in negotiation with any mall management, you need to be a commercially viable model for negotiation. It's not easy to go negotiate something you don't control. Mm-hmm. Right? So what is the business model that you follow to be able to stay on top of the brand performance to support you in your negotiation? As a support function, the business very easily finds it, I think, convenient to say, listen, get us a better deal, right?
Definitely.
That's the most common scenario you get in businesses. So can you take us through the business model that you follow to be able to stay, let's say, at the upper hand of negotiation through the business performance?
Sure. So technically, when we build any relationship with any landlord, your first aim is not to win the deal, actually, to make a win-win case for both. Landlord is looking for his rent, and he's looking for turnover rent by over and above the rent where you pay by end of the year. But eventually, he's looking for a win deal for him. What is his win deal? We need to understand his mentality, what he's looking for, and then we decide how we will make it happen. So whenever we go through it, we just inform the landlord what are the benefits if we will be on board. Right? So this brand will be having traction from the customer, people will be asking for it, it will attract more footfall for you, and it will complement your tenancy mix. This is great. Then you close the deal. Then we need to make sure that ops people are doing their job, as you just mentioned. Just for us to make sure this is all fine, we need to have the full setup and the right environment for the operation people not to have any excuses that are not helping them to achieve their business target. So the store needs, first of all, to be the proper store, the right location, the right facade, the right size, the right shape as well. So sometimes you will see L-shaped stores, which are not the right thing for the business. Sometimes you will see narrow facade that are not really visible. Sometimes you will see low ceilings. Sometimes the facade itself is not designed in the right way. So we need to just make sure all of these elements are out of the game. So people, whenever they operate in a proper way. Once we deliver all of these, we believe in our brand. Then our brand should perform. Again, then it will be operation things to go and deliver what's needed, but we need to make sure we have all the elements for them to operate in a proper way. Later on, definitely it will be the discussion with landlord on how we can get more footfall into our stores, where we leverage our negotiation throughout all the brand of GMG, that we need to have support in the marketing, support in the wayfinding in some malls, whether if we need some parkings for a specific type of business like the everyday is good, and so on. So we'll try to facilitate all of these for the operation.
Great. Now, this takes me to the second phase. GMG, as we all know, is a very diverse business. Switching hats between sports and everyday goods and health and beauty. obviously, from an interest perspective, it's an interesting proposition,
Sure,
right?
sure.
But from a criteria perspective, and to stay ahead of the commercial game, do you follow different methodologies when you go to market for every business unit, or is the methodology the same, just different criteria fall into it?
No, it's not one size fits all, definitely. There are completely different methodology between each and every one. So we need to understand our market and our competitors. In some ways, we excel and we dominate big time. In some other ways, we will dominate eventually. Okay, but we need to understand our fact and where do we sit today. As you mentioned, in sports, it's completely different because we go and we take a big GLA from any landlord where if they want sport, they will completely just come to GMG and they will do it. This is how we're going to do it for the rest of the businesses as well. In health and beauty, we have an amazing concept where landlords are really asking for it, and we want to make sure that we have it in the right way. The newcomer for GMG, the baby of GMG, which is Every Day is Good, is growing. I wouldn't say it's as mature as a sport, but we are making sure it will be soon. The way of communication is completely different on how we communicate landlord, because where we want to position and elevate each brand is not the same for all. So, for example, in Every Day is Good, our target is completely different on the sport level. The beauty out of it is when we talk GMG, we leverage the power of GMG. We come as full package. And this is our power. Different competitors can give you supermarket, but that's it. Other competitors can give you a pharmacy, and that's it. We come to landlord with a full package. You take your supermarket, you take your pharmacy, you take your sports brand, you take your fashion brand as well, all in one package, which other retailer cannot do. There's no retailer that having all this diversity. You might find bigger retailer when it comes to fashion, but fashion only. Okay, but not this kind of diversity where you come to a landlord and you will tell him, look, I'm ready to occupy 15 to 16% from your total GLA in the mall by having all my brands in. And then it's completely different scenario.
Of course. So when projects came under development, I presume, and please clarify or give me your point of view on why you think that was, let's say, an interesting business model. The way I presume you would have understood it is that projects serve a commercial benefit called opening on time at the best cost. Mm-hmm. But different people have different opinions on how projects should operate, right? What is your methodology?
So, going back to what we said, we deliver from A to Z. We open the store until the date we decide we want to exit, right? If those people are not one team and collaborating together, we will fail without even opening the store. What will happen, usually when you sign the deal, I don't want to take you more into technical details, but I need to mention some of it. So when you sign the deal, for a project to start, they need to have something called LODs, the blueprints, for them to start working on the design. For a certain reason, if you are late by signing the deal or if the lease is not executed for any reason, you will not get these. If you don't get these and if you don't send it to project at the same time, the project will be delayed. And we know that we have some brand that it will take lengthy process for them to deliver a design or a concept even. What we are trying to do here is just making sure there is no blame game. It's one KPI that we need to make it happen. Project will lease with the leasing people and they will work together. Once we as leasing have any unit in negotiation, project are immediately aware of it. That look guys, you need to prepare your manpower, you need to prepare your annual vacation, you need to prepare the capex for this coming project, which can happen or cannot. But we'll start working on it accordingly. They are aware of it. We start the deal. They will start building whatever needed for the feasibility study or the IRR. And then by the time we sign the lease, we have all the information ready and we can kick off the project immediately without any delay. So this will help a lot also the operation and the brand to plan it in advance. So we tell the guys, look, these are your opening date as per the lease. We're trying to beat the lease number even, and then you should be ready to operate, where you should go to your HR and tell them, look, this is the recruiting time for me. I need my people by this date. to be ready for the training. And so for the buying and merchandising, I need my product on this date. For the planning, I need it to be like this, and so and so. If we don't have such a planning, it's a complete failure, as simple as this.
And how is the relationship usually between business and development?
Very good. It's challenging, but this is how it should be. It should be challenging because we should. Me coming from the business background, I can understand what they are looking for, and this will make even my life a little bit easier, and hopefully also their life. I can completely understand their background. I will understand what will be their pain point and what they are looking for. So sometimes when they are challenging, this is for me normal. I wouldn't take it as like they are trying to make people fail or they are trying to corner people. I completely put myself on their shoe where I was before, and for me, it's sometimes, majority of the times, it will make sense. We need to make sure that any location that will not be profitable and sustainable for the business, we don't want it. So I'm not trying to put location just for the sake of me ticking the box of KPIs that, look, you want location, I got your location. This is not how I do the business. Eventually, if anyone is rejecting the site, is rejecting any store, I need to understand why. Is it relevant or not relevant? If you are telling me that these are my specifications for such a brand and I'm fulfilling these specifications, then I need to understand the reason of rejection. If it's not valid, then I will challenge back, definitely, because something is not clear for me and we need to discuss it. If he's right and we missed any criteria, then it's point taken. We will make sure that we don't put on the table something that it should be irrelevant, which we are not doing, by the way, but still sometimes there are some few voices which make sense. Other than this, it's fine. The biggest challenge in when it comes to locking the numbers down on the IRR and the feasibility, and this is completely different challenge. Some people try to play it, I would say, conservative, which completely understood, but sometimes you need to take the risk. I would completely understand in normal case scenario, but sometimes when there is urgency to open a store, and it's a really prime unit, for example, in a good mall, I would push further. I would stretch the people. I would ask the guys, do your best, because if you miss it, we're going to all regret it later on. And this is a challenging part. But it's always different voices on the table when we do have the leasing committee headed by our CEO. So we all might have different ideas, and eventually we will listen to what will make sense. If it doesn't make sense to proceed, then we don't proceed, simple.
It's amazing how support functions are starting to play a truly commercial role within the business rather than just providing a service, but actually are becoming commercially more savvy as support functions. Nothing removes us away from being a consumer-centric organization, and I believe in general business has to remain and always will be a consumer-centric business. Now, if we move to, the topic of sustainability.
Which I know you like it.
I mean, look, obviously I like it, and that it's a passion point there, right?
Yes.
And I know businesses have taken different opinions, and globally the subject has taken different angles. In GMG, it's ESG.
Yes.
Ultimately, we're all about how to create a business that's sustainable for us and for the community.
Exactly.
I believe that comes to life predominantly from your facilities function, right? Because you cover more on the environmental front of the ESG agenda. Sure. How do you envision ESG playing a role commercially to support the business?
Great. So technically, we are looking at the whole project. And to be very honest, we are looking from two different angles. How each project can be really having the green platform and sustainable, and then how we can do some saving as well on the CapEx and the OpEx later on. So from managing both angles, we have some ratings where we are trying to enhance our rating. So for example, if you go to landlord, in each and every project, you need to have some number of stars, like 4 stars or 5 stars. And below that, they will not even give you the permit to open the store, which is forcing us even to make sure that we are fulfilling these requirements. We started our own solar project, which we have executed one, but this was not the end of it. So now we are going through 3 more projects for solar system, okay? It will cover 2 factories between Jafza and the IP, and another warehouse in Jafza as well. And this will be activated within the next coming 2 weeks, and it will be live within 8 to 9 months from now. This is one part of the story. We are looking at the operating stores as well, and how we can enhance the efficiency of the stores by saving the build cost, by going more green, by being sustainable. So, for example, you look at the HVAC, your AC system, heating, ventilation, and AC. How we can reduce the cost, how we can adjust the temperature, what is the best time of operation, and how to make it accordingly. We look at our light bills. What is the best light? What can give us the degree of the light that we are looking for as per the brand spec, versus how much the consumption should be. So we always measure our consumption, whether in store, in warehouse, in facilities, or even in offices. And we try to make sure that we give, again, the best customer service experience, whether for our employees, for our customers, for us in the offices or the warehouses, but by doing everything in the right way and how it should be, where we really help the environment and save the cost as well.
That then you've covered that sustainability actually touches on both projects and facilities.
Exactly.
Do you contribute this commercial saving back into the business?
In a way or another, yes, definitely. Yes.
So it's added into the commercial plan.
Definitely, because in every feasibility, when we look at any cost and when we build the store, we have specific capex number. So whenever we try to save anything and we go more into sustainability, this will go also back to the business. So their even payback will look healthier than what it was planned, which is something, it's even good for them. So I would say it's the cherry on the top of the cake, where this is your plan, but I'm giving you an extra push so you can start generating profit as soon as possible. So we are trying to implement it across all the project. Are we doing it as an add-on? Yes, but it will not be later on. It will be embedded in the business. So each project should go through these kind of criteria, and it's not going to be an add-on to it. So this is the new way on how project should be done, how FM will work, and this is how we're going to implement it.
So my last question for the day, between sustainability, between AI, the landscape is changing, right? How do you envision the development department in 5 years from today?
Okay, so we are building our vision to make sure that AI will be integrated into our system. This will give us a better and faster decision across. From leasing perspective, we will go from leasing negotiation to protecting the capital and the assets. From the project, we go from building store to saving the company assets by doing value engineering. In FM, we are just going to be from reactive to make sure that we prevent everything from day one. So by generating all these kind of reports, we know the lifetime of each AC, each light, and then we put the solution for it before the chaos happens. So we will go from being reactive to being proactive. This is how we need to make sure, and we will definitely protect the asset of the company on the 360 level, from going from the mentality of managing the assets to how we protect it and how we grow it.
Well, is there anything that you believe we have missed in today's conversation that our audience would like to listen to? Remember, our audience has been used to words like leasing or projects or facilities, and today we've introduced them to why it's a holistic approach and how it's a commercially added value, how you're a contributor to the P&L of any business. Do you believe there's anything that we haven't covered that can add to their knowledge and probably even their ways of thinking?
Technically speaking, you covered the whole thing. Thank you, Razan. But I would just need to highlight on one thing, that we are clubbing the 3 pillars into one department, yes, but eventually it's a one goal for GMG. So regardless of what development will do, development plus finance plus HR plus operation plus brand, they are all having the same goal eventually.
Of course, the one brand and one number.
Exactly. So this is how we need to work it internally. one brand, one number, succeed together, celebrate together, and let's have fun at work. This is most important.
I mean, this have fun at work, honestly, if you can't see it, I don't know why people come to work. Every time we have a podcast with someone and we discuss the details of their lives, it's never about today. There's so much in the world, especially through technology, that's changing the dynamics of our operation, that I feel like the next time I meet you, we might even have a different conversation, not 5 years from today, but probably in our next session from now. Well, thank you very much, Fadi. I think today's session was very insightful to all our listeners. And I hope they feel that value listening to our session. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Hazan.
And dear listeners, thank you very much for listening today. And we look forward in seeing you in our next episode of People and Purpose by GMG.